Hi, Greg. My name is Alex Zimmerman. I'm from Southeast Iowa. Like you, I started a apologetics podcast video series thing a couple of years ago for me. So it's opened the door for a lot of questions from family members
Good.
and friends. And I had a question. I was approached by a family member, and it was a rare opportunity to talk about, why they don't go to church, why they don't, claim to have faith in God. And all their answers was that they didn't like organized religion. Um, my father-in-law had for a long time said, he went to Catholic Church for many years, and so he did that uh, so that his kids wouldn't have to, which I always thought was funny.
Hmm.
Um, but I was wondering, how do I approach the question or the statement that they don't like organized religion?
Hmm.
Thanks. Can't wait to hear your answer.
Well, okay, Alex, I appreciate that. And there's actually two elements here to speak to. The one is the organized religion part, and the other one is the like part. Okay, and let me take them in reverse order. Our goal, it seems to me, when it comes to the broad religious enterprise, which has to do with ultimate issues and ultimate reality. What is real about the world and about human beings, and about things like what's true and what's beautiful and what's good. Now, it may turn out that there's nothing that's good and nothing that's beautiful. So, aesthetics and morality is there are no objective answers to that, and that will be the truth. All right, but nevertheless, it seems like these are the important questions to answer. And the issue is not what feels good or what you like. I remember being on a radio show with a Roman Catholic priest and a rabbi. The question was asked by a caller, how do you choose the right religion? And both said one version or another of find what you like or what resonates with you. Now, in my mind, the goal of assessing ultimate reality to find out what it is not to find what you like. That's a that's a relativistic approach. That's a satisfy me. What makes me feel good? In fact, Karl Marx said that that's all religion is. It's the opiate of the people. It's the drug people take to feel better about life. But it doesn't tell you anything outside of your own experience. So you do this thing that gives you a pleasant experience, makes you feel better, but it doesn't tell you anything about the world. It doesn't actually help anything. It doesn't heal anything because there's nothing to heal, except for maybe a dissatisfied spirit or anxious or whatever. So you can do something for yourself psychologically. But that's not our project. It wasn't Jesus' project. And broadly, it shouldn't be the project of anyone trying to figure out what is the case about reality. Because it might be that there is a God and that there is a religious claim that's accurate and that has bearing on an individual's life. So if there is a God and there is a heaven and a hell, and some people are going to one and others are going to the other, well, you can see how that's a pretty big deal if the heaven or the hell is an eternal matter. And so if there is any good reason to think that might be the case, it seems to me somebody would want to figure it out. So what matters here is the truth of the matter, not whether or not you like the truth of the matter. And in that interview, that's what I said. I said, it doesn't matter what you like. It doesn't matter what resonates with you if you're just subjectivizing it that way. What matters is what is true. That's all that matters. Now, I think Christianity is true. Do I like it? Lots of times I don't. Why? Because it invades against my self-interest. I don't want to always do the things that are the right things to do. I want to do the wrong things because, at least in the short term, it will feel more satisfying to me. But my quest isn't to try to find something I like. It's the wrong question. The question is, what's true? You go to a doctor. You don't say, hey, doctor, assess my health and then tell me something I like. Or if he tells you something you don't like, you don't say, I don't like that. You're mean. I'm going to find another doctor who's not so mean. He's going to tell me something nice. The fact is, if the diagnosis is accurate, you're still stuck with the disease, whether you like it or not, and you better do something about it. So the issue isn't what you like when it comes to these kinds of things. And I focused in on this a little bit because, Alex, you mentioned, I think the same phrase a couple of times, so it seems to be the kind of thing someone said. Occasionally, we'll use that word in a less specific sense, and we'll mean what I like, what I think is accurate. But here, it just sounds like I don't like it. And especially if somebody had a bad experience with, in this case, Catholic religion, Roman Catholic religion. So he did all the Roman Catholic things so his kids wouldn't have to. That makes no sense to me, nor did it to you, apparently, Alex. He had a bad experience with that organized religion, so he doesn't want his kids to have a bad experience with that organized religion. Maybe that's what it is. I suffered through this, and I'm going to protect my kids from having to go through the same thing. Fortunately, because I suffered through this, I know better now, and I'm not going to require that of them. Maybe that's what he had in mind. Okay. But the first thing is, it doesn't matter what you like. It matters what's true. Here's the second thing. And this, by the way, relates to something I used to say before I was a Christian. I used to say the same thing. I don't like organized religion. I'm against organized. I don't accept organized religion. There may be some religious viewpoint that's true. It's not like I'm against some kind of religious belief. Doesn't mean I'm against some kind of transcendent reality. It's just the organized versions of that I'm not hot on. Okay, like I said, the like part is not so relevant, but I can understand how people would say it because I said it myself. But now I have a different kind of response. I said, what's wrong with organized religion? Is disorganized religion better? So that's my funny little quip. But the point is, why is a religious view somehow suspect because it's organized? I mean, it might be that a person who says, I'm not against religion, if that's understood to be some kind of transcendent spiritual element. That might be what people mean when they say I'm spiritual but not religious. Okay? I'm okay with the spiritual stuff, but not with that organized religious stuff. Well, then what is the substance of your spiritual stuff? I'm kind of curious. Well, I believe that there's an immaterial realm. Okay, good. And that there is that it entails what's good and helps us to know, if we get in touch with it, what's good. And therefore we can try to live a good life, not a bad life. I mean, so we have those distinctions. And it seems if I were to draw a person out who made that statement, I'd get some content. So it turns out that this individual who doesn't like organized religion or is religious but is spiritual, not religious, their spirituality, their understanding of the spiritual realm or the spiritual project must have some content to it, or else it would be meaningless. So when you say you're spiritual, you mean what? What's the content? And if they give you some pieces of content, the more pieces they give you, the more organized it begins to look. In other words, it becomes a body of, I don't know if dogma is the right word, but certainly concepts that the individual thinks are true regarding the spiritual realm. Oh, well, there's no hell. No, that God is a God of love, or they might say those kinds of things. Well, okay, now your your religious view is getting more organized because it excludes hell and it characterizes God as loving, and there are moral principles. Do you see what's going on here? Now, you might think, well, I'm doing it all on my own, so it's not organized in the sense I'm concerned about it. But see, what's to keep you from, if you have these precepts and you think these are accurate, what would be the problem of hanging out with other people who held your exact views about spiritual things? Maybe it's a minimalist characterization of religion. It's not a lot. You don't have a whole thick catechism of religious convictions, but you've got these details. Yeah, I'm into reincarnation and karma. So, okay, well, that means you can't hang out in a more official way with people who believed in reincarnation and karma, holding to another ethic of love of some sort or whatever, because now you're getting organized. So how does I'm back to the original question, how does the element of being structured in some way automatically make it illicit? That's kind of what I'm getting at. I understand, I was raised Roman Catholic, so I can understand the kinds of pushback somebody might have to particular features of the organized religion known as Roman Catholicism. But the problem, in my mind, isn't that Catholicism is organized. It's the things that are organized, the details or the particulars are ones that maybe before I was a Christian, I just didn't like. Oh, yeah, they make these restrictions on me. I have to go to confession. I can't do this. I got to do that. And I didn't want any of that, not in mid-'60s when the counterculture was hitting the country. Do your own thing, man. That was it. It's kind of like what they say now, you do you, but that was the idea. If it feels good, do it. Tune in, turn on, and drop out, you know? That was the deal. Well, the Catholic Church wouldn't let me do that, so I didn't want that. And so my complaint was not so much with the organized element, but what in particular I was expected to comply with in that particular example of organization. Now I think my concerns are different. I don't object to the idea that within that community, a religious community, there are criteria, there are behavioral standards, etc. My concern now is more theological. I don't think that the Roman Catholic take on very important things is sound, nor biblical. Okay? So once again, it isn't that the Roman Catholic Church is an organized religion. Before I was a Christian, it's because it made demands on me I didn't like. And after I was a Christian, there were theological convictions I didn't share. But that it was organized seems to be irrelevant. And that's the question that I would push, Alex. What exactly is the problem with being organized? And is it fair to distinguish between a group that holds to a body of information spiritually, that would be organized, and other groups that do the same but also, in your own mind, might be abusive? Well, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. However, I do think in the case of many people, this is in the intention. It's to throw both the bathwater out and the baby because they don't want anything to do with it. They don't want any constraints on their behavior. They want to do their own thing. And then this becomes a way of sanitizing their own appeals to their own autonomy. They can just do whatever they want because, that's organized, so I'm just going to dismiss it. I just don't see the problem with any religious view being organized. And in fact, if a person is spiritual but not religious, they've already got some organization because there must be some substance to the claim to be spiritual, some beliefs that are in place. And once those beliefs are in place, I don't see why even that person would object to kind of making common cause with other people who have the same beliefs. But you couldn't do that, could you? Because looks too much like being organized. I think it's a shallow objection, and maybe pressing with the questions, what do you mean by that? And why is that a problem? Would be helpful here in conversation.